Picture it. 2 in the morning, somewhere in America. A long chrome building glowing on the side of the road, neon humming in the dark, red vinyl booths, a counter with swivel stools, bottomless coffee in a thick white mug, a slice of pie under glass, and a waitress who calls you hon and means it. Open all night for everyone. The trucker, the cop, the couple after prom, the lonely guy who just needs somewhere warm to be. The American diner wasn't a restaurant. It was the country's living room, and it's disappearing. The ones left are mostly old, and when they close, almost nobody builds new ones. A whole American institution is fading out, and not because the food got bad or the prices got high. So what really killed the American diner? The answer runs through a horse-drawn lunch wagon, a factory in New Jersey, the Interstate Highway System, and a shift in what Americans decided a meal was even for. By the end, you'll understand why that glowing chrome box by the road feels like a time machine. The diner started as a literal vehicle. In 1872, in Providence, Rhode Island, a man named Walter Scott parked a horse-drawn wagon outside a newspaper office and sold sandwiches and coffee at night to workers when every restaurant in town was closed. That was the whole idea. Good, cheap food at hours nobody else would serve. The lunch wagon caught on, spread city to city, and soon they were everywhere. Then someone realized the wagons could just stay parked, and the diner became a building. But it kept its DNA from the wagon. Long and narrow, a counter down one side, a kitchen you could see. Food made fast and cheap. By the early 1900s, these were fixtures of American working life. Open early, open late, classless in the best way. A factory worker and a banker sat at the same counter and paid the same dollar for the same eggs. There was nowhere else in America quite like that, and it's worth holding on to that detail, because it's exactly what got lost. So how did this thing go from the beating heart of every American town to an endangered species? 3 forces, in order: a factory, a highway, and a hamburger. Here's what almost nobody knows. The classic diner, the gleaming chrome and glass building you picture, was manufactured in a factory and delivered to the site, fully built, on a truck. Companies, many of them in New Jersey, mass-produced diners the way others built rail cars, which is exactly why they look the way they do. The streamlined stainless steel, the rounded corners, the compact railcar shape. You didn't construct a diner. You ordered one, and it arrived. That made the diner a small business dream. A working-class person, often an immigrant, could buy a pre-built diner on installments, park it on a cheap lot, and run their own restaurant with almost no staff. Through the 1940s and 50s, this was a genuine ladder into the middle class, and diners multiplied across the Northeast and Midwest. The diner boom wasn't an accident of taste. It was a manufacturing boom. And that's the first clue to its death, because anything that rises on a factory and an economic moment can fall when that moment passes. The diner's golden age had a hidden dependency. It lived on the old roads, the main streets, and 2-lane highways that ran through every American town, where everybody had to slow down and pass the front door. The diner's entire business model was being on the route. Then, starting in 1956, America built the Interstate Highway System, tens of thousands of miles of high-speed freeway designed to go around towns, not through them. Overnight, the traffic that fed the diner was lifted up onto an overpass and routed past the exit. The old main street went quiet, and the new exits didn't want a one-off chrome diner run by a family. They wanted something else entirely, something the next force was about to deliver. The road that built modern America drove straight past the diner's front door. At those new highway exits rose the thing that finished the job: fast food. In 1948, the McDonald brothers stripped the diner down to its bones. They took the cheap, fast, familiar food and removed everything that made a diner a diner. No waitress, no counter to linger at, no menu of 100 items, no hun. Just a tiny menu, a drive-up window, and food in under a minute, identical in every state. Fast food was, in a sense, the diner perfected into a machine. And then, mass-produced by the thousands with corporate money the family diner could never match. A franchise could plant 100 locations at the new exits, while a single diner owner struggled to keep one going on the dying main street. And critically, fast food kept the diner's cheapness and speed, but threw away its soul. The lingering, the conversation, the being known. Americans, newly in a hurry and newly in cars, mostly took the trade. The diner didn't lose because people stopped wanting cheap fast food. It lost because a corporate version delivered the food and skipped everything human. And that version scaled, and the diner couldn't. Now the detail that reframes every diner you've ever sat in. The reason a real diner feels like a time machine is that, financially, it basically is one. Almost no one manufactures the classic diner anymore. The factories that built them are mostly gone. So nearly every authentic chrome diner still operating as a survivor, decades old, often run by the second or third generation of the same family. You're not sitting in a style. You're sitting in an actual artifact from the 1950s that simply never closed. This is why the diner can't bounce back the way a trend can. A new burger chain spins up overnight with investor money. But a diner is a slow, low-margin, labor-heavy business with razor-thin profits, soaring food and labor costs, and an aging owner whose kids don't want the 18-hour days. When one closes, it's usually gone for good. The building scrapped or converted, the recipes and the regulars scattered. The diner isn't being outcompeted in real time. It's quietly aging out, one retirement and one lease expiration at a time, with no replacements being born. And here's what actually died with it, the part that isn't about food at all. The diner was one of the last truly classless, unhurried public spaces in America, what sociologists call a third place, somewhere that isn't home and isn't work, where you can simply be around other people without paying rent for the privilege. You could nurse a $1 coffee for 2 hours at 3 a.m. and nobody rushed you out. The trucker, the night shift nurse, the heartbroken teenager, and the cop all shared the same counter. It asked nothing of you but your company. Fast food deliberately engineered that away. Hard seats, bright lights, a layout designed to move you out fast because a lingering customer has lost money. America traded a place that wanted you to stay for a place that wants you gone in 7 minutes. And we didn't just lose a restaurant. We lost one of the few rooms left where strangers from every walk of life sat down together as equals. The diner's real product was never the pie. It was belonging. And belonging doesn't scale, doesn't franchise, and doesn't show up on a quarterly report. To be fair, nothing about this was villainous. Fast food made eating out genuinely cheaper and faster for a country that wanted both. The interstates created enormous prosperity and connected a continent. The diner's decline is mostly just the slow math of a hard, low-profit business in an economy that rewards scale, not a murder, but an aging out. And the diner isn't fully gone. In pockets of the Northeast, classic diners still thrive, and a wave of nostalgia is keeping the survivors beloved, even celebrated, even protected. But beloved isn't the same as built. We treasure the diners we have. We just don't make new ones. And an institution that is only ever subtracted from has a direction, even if the trip takes another generation. So the next time you pass one of those glowing chrome boxes by the road, pull in, take the counter stool, order the coffee in the heavy white mug and the pie under the glass, and stay a while longer than you need to. You're not just getting a cheap meal. You're sitting inside one of the last working pieces of an America that built rooms for strangers to belong in. An America that decided somewhere along the way that it was in too much of a hurry for that. The diner didn't really die. We just stopped building places that ask us to stay. Maybe the question isn't what killed the diner. Maybe it's, what did we replace it with? And do we actually like sitting there? So tell me, is there still a real diner near you? What's it called? And what do you order? Those comments are the whole reason I make this channel, Americans Over 50. What did your hometown diner mean to you? And everyone outside the US, do you have anything like this, a cheap place open all night where everyone's welcome? I read every single one. Subscribe. There's a video right here about what really killed the American corner store. Same disappearing America, different room.